Alright, so for today's video, I thought I would share my biggest fear and my biggest hope for the next Call of Duty game. Hopefully I can keep this commentary simple, but I just sort of want to let you guys know where I'm at when it comes to anticipating the next COD. A lot of you guys want me to talk about COD 2020 and the leaks and the rumors, but really I don't care about any leaks or rumors. I just wait for official information and then I can discuss that. I already made a video talking about what I would like from a Call of Duty Vietnam game, and other than that, let's get into my fear and my hope. My biggest hope for COD 2020 is proper dev support and communication. That's my big thing right now, because it's the only thing, in my opinion, missing from Modern Warfare. Because Modern Warfare as a game, in my opinion, it's brilliant. It's just that Modern Warfare would be so much better if the developers played their own game, applied patches accordingly, got patch notes correct, listened to our feedback about Dead Silence and the minimap. Because yeah, I'm not talking about the feedback, which is just redo the whole game, I hate it. That's not feedback. Telling them to redo every map, remove certain maps you don't want to play, only add in a ton of small maps so that the game is just oversaturated in tiny clusterfucks that you can just play over and over again. No, I don't consider feedback that says change the way the entire game is meant to be played and redo all your maps. I do not consider that to be valid feedback. At that point, if you don't like the game, play something else. That's why I keep saying that. If you don't like anything about Modern Warfare, it's all bad, then don't play the game. But when it comes to little things like, I love the game, but we would love a minimap that works. It would, encourage more gunfights, it would make people use suppressors more, but that's fine. You could also change the Ghost perk, because the Ghost perk right now is too powerful. Ghost should only activate while moving. That's a simple change that everybody would appreciate. Then yeah, you can camp with a suppressor, but when a UAV comes in, you have to move, otherwise people will see you. And that would immediately make it harder for somebody to hide in, let's say, Bottom Cafe and Ramaza, because, well, they have to move around constantly, so how would they just be able to watch one door all game? They can't. It's that simple request that people have been saying, nerf Ghost, change the minimap back, make Dead Silence a perk, make Amplify a perk. Those are the things I've heard constantly, and they've fallen on deaf ears. I don't want to rant about it too much, because I've ranted about that enough. I've bitched and whined and moaned. We all have. Although I am curious, if you love the way the game is right now, no fooling, you just love the way it is entirely and you don't want any changes, let me know why down in the comment section below. I'm curious, because I love the game, but I wish these changes would have been implemented months ago at this point. Like I said, when the game came out, I would not be nice to it if these things weren't implemented later, and it's later now. I didn't expect the game to be reworked. That's not a good thing to assume. The game has too many players, it's selling too well. To completely rewrite the formula, it's kind of embarrassing. But good dev support means maybe these spawns would have been fixed already. Maybe our feedback would have been listened to. Maybe people wouldn't just be using RPGs to negate gunfights, because maybe they would have nerfed the RPG by now. Because if these developers went and played their own game in like a sweaty game of domination, holy shit. They'd be like, oh, well maybe the RPG is a little too accurate. Maybe EOD needs to be a little bit more powerful. Something like that, but we're not getting those types of changes. We've had multiple patches where things aren't changed, and on the things that are changed, like the open bolt delay or the Dragunov buff, those things are hidden from us and we have to find that out through YouTubers. It's great for the YouTuber, I'm glad that those YouTubers get views from that, but they shouldn't have to do that work for you, Infinity Ward. So good dev support is my big fucking hope. And yeah, just as a little addendum, I also hope the community relaxes a little bit with the next COD, because if you don't like it off the bat, give it a couple months. If after those months the game isn't where you want it, play something else. That's the way games are. You can't expect a rework. That's entitlement. That's silly. Oh, but I paid for it. Yeah, it's a product. And the product doesn't just have to adapt itself to your needs. There's millions of people playing the game. You have to adapt to the game first. So many people with Modern Warfare were not willing to do that. They were mad within the first 2 weeks of the game coming out because they didn't learn the maps, they didn't learn the weapons, they didn't learn how the game was meant to be played. I don't listen to the people that have been bitching since day one. Because if you're just gonna complain about a problem until it's a problem and then say, I told you so, you're not worth my time. If you were part of the wait and see crowd, and now that you've waited and seen, you want a little bit more, that's a rational response. Still demanding the game be completely reworked and entire systems be removed and changed, it's not happening. But yeah, I don't know why Ghost hasn't gotten a nerf. That would change the game drastically. That would overhaul the meta just by making Ghost activate only while moving. That would change the game more than a lot of you guys think. So anyway, yeah, I just hope the community is also constructive as well as having good dev support. But my main hope is dev support. But now you're wondering, Well, what's your biggest fear? I fear that Call of Duty is going to overreact. I feel like because there has been so much backlash towards Modern Warfare for how it plays, that there will be a massive change to the Call of Duty formula for Modern Warfare, and we will go back to very simplistic maps, forced engagements, and an overall boring experience for me, because that's what that is. I'm worried that Call of Duty will overly simplify itself. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have some simple maps for competitive play and, to appease those people, but I'm worried that the game's gonna be drastically more simple in terms of the actual gameplay loop. Even the maps I don't like in Modern Warfare pose an interesting challenge compared to the map next to it, and that is an important thing for me as a player. But before Call of Duty Modern Warfare, we had maps that you could learn after playing on them twice. Whereas with Modern Warfare, there are still little spots and areas that I haven't learned about. Nade spots, jump spots, lines of sight that I'm still learning about, and I want that complexity in Call of Duty. I don't want to watch it go away so soon. One of the big reasons I'm enjoying Modern Warfare right now is because it is a departure from the overly simplistic 3-lane forced engagement maps that we had previously. And while I think some maps should be simplistic, they should be clean, I like that idea, I just have this worrying thought that the game is going to be such a departure from what I like in an FPS game and go back to the simplistic forced engagement ways that Black Ops 3 and 4 played, even Infinite Warfare here that you're seeing the gameplay right here. I don't really want this back. Even if it's not advanced movement, you can still have this sort of simplistic gameplay loop that I'm not a fan of. Yeah, Modern Warfare caters to campers, but not just simply due to the maps, because of the Ghost perk, because of the mini-map, because of how they have the game's mechanics set up. That's what really promotes camping, not the maps themselves. Call of Duty has always had messy maps and campers, at least back in the 360 era with COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, World at War, Modern Warfare 3, Call of Duty Ghosts. I mean, even Black Ops 2 had some larger, interesting maps like Drone and Turbine. I thought those maps were, although 3-lane, very interesting to play on. Also maps like Yemen, which had a lot of verticality and little nooks and crannies. I like that map. If you guys watch my gameplay, I'm not just a camper, that's not all I'm demanding, but I do like to be able to play however I want. I want that ability to play the way I want. I hope the next COD isn't a clusterfuck of forced engagements and instead allows me to pick my playstyle. If I want to go slow and stealthy, if I want to be a stationary sniper, if I want to be a run and gunner, a good Call of Duty game allows you to play how you want to play. That's the whole point of Create a Class. That's the whole philosophy behind Call of Duty. It's why it's so successful. In Modern Warfare 2, you can't play Rust in the same way you play Derail. You can't play Derail the same way you play Estate, and you can't play Estate the same way you play Skid Row. One of the only things I liked about COD World War II was that you had maps like Pointe du Hoc and Gustav Cannon that would show up right next to each other, and those were drastically different experiences. And so at the very least, I hope COD 2020 has a good set of dynamic experiences. And if you're thinking, well, you just want maps that you want, maps are incredibly important. The game doesn't exist without maps. A map can either tell you to play a certain way to win, or to do whatever you want. And most of my favorite Call of Duty maps are the ones that said play however you want. I had no trouble going on long flanks and rushing people on Stonehaven back during Call of Duty Ghosts. And unless you're only playing TDM in Modern Warfare, the trick to success is not to just sit in one area for half the game. No, that is an absolute caricature of Modern Warfare. The game allows you to play many different ways. Just people aren't willing to find out how. They're not willing to adapt, they're not willing to learn. That is actually a problem in the community and in the player base, that's just a fact. And the reason I know it's a problem is because you have people saying the only way to win in Modern Warfare is by camping all game. Play a different game mode. Well, I don't want to. Well, then shut up. I don't have that problem because I play Hardpoint, I play Domination, I play Headquarters, I play Kill Confirmed, and those game modes play differently. I'm not saying there aren't assholes, but there have been assholes in online FPS games for as long as there have been online FPS games. That won't change no matter what the COD. The next Call of Duty will have maps that I like and maps that I don't like, guns that are overpowered and guns that are underpowered. It'll have devs that don't seem to be listening to us as fast as we want them to. It will have laggy matches. It'll be an online AAA FPS game. It'll be an online FPS game. It'll be a video game. So those are expected things. What matters is the degree. And Modern Warfare has a sense of abusable freedom that I don't want to see removed. Modern Warfare allows you to take advantage of systems that aren't exclusively designed to be abused, and that makes players feel clever and devious, instead of feeling catered to directly. The average player knows that stuff like gravity spikes and war machines are easy to use, and even if they enjoy the results, they don't feel clever while using them. Modern Warfare feels like a sandbox, throwing knives and riot shields, claymores and deployable shields, running around with an RPG, putting claymores on recon drones, and a simple AR shotgun combo feels more impactful and fun to use because the game caters towards that. The game caters towards being a sandbox, which is to say it doesn't directly cater towards anything specifically. That's why the game can feel like bullshit at one game and you feel on top of the world in the next. There's a degree of randomness to that, which can be annoying, and they should mitigate some of the most frustrating things about Modern Warfare. I'm scared they're going to overreact. Like it's a sequel to a horror movie, and the first one was too scary for the focus group, so the second one isn't as scary, and fans of the horror are let down. Something along those lines. Let me read you more of my script from that video about Modern Warfare, and then I'll end the video. Like it or not, Modern Warfare gives players a sense of abusable freedom through weapon choices, map design, field upgrades, and perk selection. Abusable freedom is a term I would use to describe some of my favorite games like Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 1, Call of Duty Ghosts, Halo Reach, Rainbow Six Siege, and even Battle Royale games that I don't like very much have a sandbox nature that players can use to flex more of their creative muscles when it comes down to pissing off the enemy team. And I'm really worried that that design philosophy being frustrating to some people is what's going to make them sort of panic and revert a lot of changes. At the same time, Modern Warfare is selling very well and holds a player base, so maybe my fear is completely misplaced. But I think we can all agree that my hope after the travesty that is Modern Warfare's dev support is not ill-founded. My hope is that Modern Warfare's dev problem is never seen again in another Call of Duty. The reason I'm still playing Modern Warfare is because of that abusable freedom, is because of that sandbox nature and the variety of experiences. The reason I stopped playing Call of Duty World War II and Black Ops 4 and even Infinite Warfare was because it's a lot of the same. And once you've played 100 matches, you've basically played 200. And in Modern Warfare, yeah, it's still like that because it's Call of Duty, but it doesn't feel quite so much like that. So I know I'm sort of over-explaining, but I really don't want there to be any confusion. So to summarize, I hope the next Call of Duty is not overly simplistic when it comes to customization, game mechanics, and map design, and I fear that the dev support will be as bad as it was with Modern Warfare. And yeah, I know COVID's a problem, and I also know Sledgehammer needing Treyarch to come work on the next Call of Duty probably really upset their dev cycle. I understand that, but yeah, and you see what I did there? I mixed my fear and hope. I hope for one thing, fear for the other. Yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video for whatever reason. I know it went on a little bit long. It's a little winded, but if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and share. Also hit the bell notification icon thingy so you know when I go live, because I do like to live stream a lot recently. Been doing it a lot. See you when I see you. Goodbye.